Hello again, my name is Mike from MikesCarpentryPlus, and today we're going to repair an Eave that was fire damaged. And the first thing you do is you take a look at it and see what you need to do and come up with some kind of plan of how to repair it. And so this is what it looks like. Have that part there that's okay, intact, and that fascia board up there. This board right here, this is 4 3/4 inches tall, and it's 3/4 inch thick, and I need to put a board butted up against that fascia board there and go all the way across to the end here. And as you can see, the fire damage is pretty extensive in that area right there. And they had 2 buys, or actually 1 buys across the roof to begin with, and then they put OSB on top of that, and that part right in there, the 1 buys are it's burned up and gone. So the fascia board that I have, the new one, is 16 feet long. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the board lengthwise, and see this right here is a treated 1 1/4 inch like a deck board, and it's 5 1/2 inches wide, and I'm going to make it match that other piece that's up there, so it'll be 4 3/4 inches wide. But where that 1 by up there, about maybe 2 1/2 feet wide, it's gone, it burned up. So I'm going to leave part of this board the full 5 1/2 inches wide, so it'll make up for that 1 by that was normally the roof, like a roof plank. But anyway, the first thing we're going to do is since I've already got part of the soffit up there that's good and everything, what I did was I put a screw. Normally I wouldn't do this first. Normally I would do the fascia board first, and then put a level on it and put the Eave board up. But since I'm going to since it's a little easier to put that backing board up, that it's going to go lengthwise, I'll use 2x4s. And normally I wouldn't use like a 2x4. I'd either use a 1 by or actually I like cutting 2x4s in half, and that's plenty of strength back there to screw up the soffit to. But the first thing that I did is I put a screw up there, a long screw that I'm going to put my chalk line, hook it to, and I'm going to go across over to that soffit that's already there, and I'll mark my chalk line. So those 2 boards is what I'm going to put up first, since they're only 8 feet long. Anyway, here we go with the chalk line. You know, sometimes things just don't go right. Went right underneath that old tile. There we go. tight, pull it straight out, and now I've got a chalk line. That's where my 2x4 is going to get screwed to the wall. And I'll leave that screw there so I can lay that, I'll lay that second 2x4 right along there. So here's the first 2x4. Okay, now I need to measure how long that second 2x4's got to be. $99 1/4, and see that wire up there? It's got a hole up there, and that's going to hold the other end of this long 16-foot board. $99 1/4. That's what this one needs to be. Oh, it's not long enough. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to go ahead and put this up the right length out this way, and we'll put a screw in there to hold it on this end. And I already have a screw to hold the other end. And what I do with my hammer, there it is. Right about there. Remember the other videos, I have this ceramic tile, so I need to use a hammer to get the screw started. That'll work out just fine. There can be a little gap there. So we've got the with that, those two 2x4s, what that does is that gives me the back where a straight edge along the back. See the soffit over there? That's what I'll screw the soffit up into in the back side, and then after all the soffit's up, then I'll take my J channel and I'll put it up to the bottom of the soffit, and it works out real good that way because the soffit will never come down that way because it's screwed both on the back side and the front side. This fascia board here, this 16 footer, it will be the on the outside. I'll go ahead and cut it and then put it up. And something else I wanted a little tip is that when you have a board, whether it's a regular board or a piece of OSB or a piece of plywood or whatever, if you've got an edge that's not any good and you don't need the whole length, then obviously you cut the bat out. So I've got a 16-foot board here, and I can take about 6 inches off of it. So on one side I've got a knot, and on the other side I've got cracks. So I'm going to put a straight edge on, or a square on it, and I'll cut a couple inches off of that end, and then I'll measure the length. And I believe I need 157 and 1/8. I'll take a look and see. But anyway, I'm going to cut the end off, square it up, and then cut lengthwise. don't know what I did with my tape measure. You see how I did with my tape measure? Fell off the ladder. $157 and an eighth. All right. 157 and 1/8. That's not 157, it's 187. I didn't think that looked right. $187 and an eighth. Oh, that's why, because it's 15 feet 7 inches. That's what I did there. 15 feet 7 inches and an eighth. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill a couple holes for this, and whenever you drill holes in wood, it's best to drill in about halfway and then back out, because it's the drill bit will get filled up with all the sawdust. So now we're ready to put this fascia board up. Some people call it a gutter board. You can call it anything you want. This particular board, like I said earlier, is 1 1/4 inches thick, and it's treated. And it was $9, and they wanted for a 2x6/16, they wanted $11. So I can stick this one up, and it'll work just fine. It's a little wider than the board that's up there, but that won't hurt anything. What you do when you have to do stuff on your own. Okay, get it up there close. Put a screw in, now we can go to the other side and put a screw in that side after it's up in the right place. Okay. I usually like to pre-drill these, but right now I just want to get this board up here. I don't know if you could see that earlier, but the roof rafters that were coming down, they were burnt pretty bad, especially like 3 in the middle there. That's why I went for a one-piece board, that fascia board, and a little bit thicker. I don't like using 3/4 inch or a 1x for a fascia board, because if you want to put guttering on later, whenever I build new, I always use just a regular 2x6, and that way you've got all kinds of strength, and you'll never have problems with the you know, gutter mounts and all that. And how many times have you seen gutters that come down because they don't put the proper fascia board up? But anyway, another reason why I did it this way is, like I said, some of those rafters are burnt pretty good, so I use that, put those 2x4s on the back side, and what I'll do is I'll measure probably about, looks like about 12 inches along, and I'll put those about every 2 feet, and when I can, I'll tie them into those rafters, and that'll give that fascia board a lot of strength. And then the roofing that's melted on top there, I'll put up like a 6-foot by 2-foot piece of aluminum and seal it and screw it down. And because later I'm going to put metal on this roof anyway, so there's no reason to go to the extreme of taking some roofing off and you know, putting that new decking right there, because I'm going to be putting new metal on it anyway later. So I'll go ahead and I'll put a couple screws in the middle there, and then I'll put a couple pieces of the 12-inch pieces in, and to show you that. And the rest of it's easy. Once I get all those little 12-inch pieces in, get this thing screwed down, all I have to do is cut my soffit and just keep lining them up all the way down. Once the soffit's up, then you put the fascia up, the metal fascia, aluminum. It's 6-inch wide, and you put that over the front, and that covers up the edge of the soffit. And then on the back side, below the soffit, you just put your J channel up there, and then you're ready to go with your vinyl siding. So anyway, I guess I'll go ahead and put in I'll screw that down in the middle, put a couple 12-inch pieces in, and then we can go to the next video. Actually, that one burned pretty bad. There's not enough there to really mess with, so I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more screws here on the end. And this one. measure the width here. Got 10 5/8. Measure the other end. And then we'll have an idea how long those 2x4s need to be. Got 9 1/4. So it widens out a little bit there at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eyeball it. It needs to be pulled out a little bit right in here. So right there I'm going to go 9 5/8. Well, that looks pretty good. I'll show you the edge of it. As you can see, let me as you can see, it's out a little bit on this end, and I'll measure and try to straighten that fascia board up. And but it looks pretty good. It's pretty strong, and the soffit will have a good place to go to, and it's looking good. So anyway, that's the end of this video. I'm Mike from MikesCarpentryPlus, and I'm really happy with that. That went a little quicker than I thought it would. I just need to remember to put my 2 foot by about 6 foot piece of aluminum up on that roof there, and when I screw down in the towards the towards the edge, I'll make sure I screw down into that new fascia board, and it'll be strong and everything. And I've already got some pieces of aluminum on the other side of the house that I showed you before, that the firemen cut into the roof to, I don't know why they do that. All it does is just ventilate it, gives it more oxygen. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, that's it. If you have a cat or dog, please get them spayed in or neutered. And if you want to get one, please go to the local animal shelter and rescue one. They'd appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.